Welcome to another episode of Connected Crime Official. I'd say it's another episode, but it's not so much as an episode. It's more of a Q&A between myself, the host, and our producer. We're going to talk about our podcasts, how we started, a review on the podcasts that we've done, and where we're going with these podcasts moving forward.
Yeah, so my name's Hamad Mir. I'm the producer for Connected Crime. I've been doing podcasting for many years myself, and then me and Shaq started our own thing with Connected Crime. So
about
Shaq,
a year ago, yeah.
It's been a while, huh?
It's been a while, yeah.
Probably 2 years.
Yeah.
So, do you want to discuss how we started?
Yeah, of course, yeah. How it started for me was, I had initial interest in crime with having been involved in it. I thought of like introducing a channel, a crime channel, stuff like that. I never thought of doing the podcast until you actually said, do a podcast. I just thought I'd set up like Instagram and everything like that, post about the mafia, because my interest was in the mafia and everything. But it went from there into a podcast. So you said to me, try it out. You've done quite a lot within the MMA background and everything. So that's where we started really, and that's how it came about. And I got my first guest, which was Chan Man. Yeah. And I trialled it. It's still a work in progress, but it was good. I enjoyed the first one. So it was good.
I think the feedback from the first, and then when we had Dean Gordon on, and things like that, I think that kind of pushed us a bit more to go further with it. Because I remember initially you told me you knew I was doing podcasting myself, and I was doing editing and recording, and you want to start a crime type of content, but you just wanted to do general videos, I believe.
General videos or posts regarding the mafia,
and then
I started that off because I had an interest in it and everything, and then it kind of culminated into like the first podcast we did, and you kind of helped me with your expertise in that to try and make that happen, and I kind of enjoyed doing that. So then it went from there really, and then we went on to a second podcast with Dean Gordon, which I really enjoyed, and there was a big following. With Dean Gordon.
So when you mentioned the crime, and then I mentioned the podcast and everything. Initially, I thought, okay, it might have a slow start because generally podcasting, from my experience, anyways, it's a slow build up. But I mean, Dean Gordon hit 11,000 views.
Dean Gordon had a good story. His story was really good, and it hit a lot of local people, and it was shared on newspapers and everything else because he had a good story, and I enjoyed telling his story, and it kind of resonated with me in a personal way, and I knew sort of the circles that he was involved in and everything, so I knew about his actual history about being involved in crime and everything else. And he was a big personality, and I think what it is with when we launched his podcast, I never knew that it's going to go that big. To be fair, I thought but I knew that he had a big following, and then when it was shared locally and everything, went crazy, and he even thanked me, because he got a lot of following off the back of that podcast. And what it was with his podcast was that I found that people wanted to know names and who was involved and the finer details that were involved, in his story and that. But you can't mention names and you can't give the finer details. And what I found with this genre when I got into it, or certainly fast forwarding it to it now, is that a lot of people, and I'm guilty of it because I like watching crime, I like watching Netflix series and to do with crime and everything. We always, as an audience, we always want to know the nooks and crannies of a crime, what's behind it, how did it go down, and what exactly happened and everything. So and it's still evident now. You know, people still want to know, and you know, with podcasts now that they still want to know like the finer details of everything. So I'm going to throw a question at you now. What do you do as a producer, just for our followers to know what's behind the scenes of what you create? I mean, I could tell you, I saw somebody, the person that's going to podcast. So I get in touch with people, credible people, that are going to sit down and talk about their story and everything. And yeah, we get people that message us saying, you know, for example, Zack Carusso, our latest podcast that we did, his book publisher got in touch with us, and she said, would you be able to get it, Zack, onto our podcast? Yeah. I said, yeah, if he's got a story and everything. So yeah, so I've sourced him, as I did with the rest of them, you know, because we only want to put out credible content, people that have been involved in crime and everything at the higher level of it, you know, and then the end story of it, of what they're doing, you know what I mean? No, from the start to where they ended up to where they are currently. So yeah, so with Zack and that, they reached out, we got them on, and I got in touch with you saying, look, we've got somebody who wants to come on, and can you tell the followers and the people that follow us what your role is within the
as a producer
within the podcast?
Yeah, so what I essentially do is I shortlist the guest. I tend to, so he'll give me an idea of the guest.
Yeah, I'll give you an
kind
idea.
of have a look at the guest, what their background is, or what their story is.
Yeah.
And then from there, what I would do is we essentially, you'll give me a time and a date.
Yeah.
You're like, look, we're going to record here. We do it quite in advance as well, right?
Yeah, we do it quite in advance.
That's like a month or two in advance, literally.
So we do month or two in advance.
Which is really nice for me, because I do a lot of other things as well. So then when you're telling me a certain day, I can book that out.
Yeah, and I know you can't do like podcasts through the week. So I know it's got to be, if we have a sit down or we do a podcast with somebody,
it's got to be on the weekend.
Guest, it's got to be on a weekend kind of thing.
Yeah, and then what happens is you send me the, information. As you can see, all the equipment and everything's from me, right? Because obviously from my previous podcasting,
that's right. Yeah.
So we don't need to. You don't need to get any more equipment. So what I do is I bring the equipment, set up, and then we do a recording like this.
Yeah.
And then from there, I would have to edit the whole process.
Yeah.
Chop everything up.
Yeah.
Make it look neat. Add in the little logo, and then.
And I've got to say, your work is second to none. The way you do the reels, the way you do the editing, the way you film and everything and that, you know, it's second to none. You know what I mean? It's like professional, to be fair.
Yeah, I remember telling you.
Because you are very meticulous in what you do. And you said to me before, and you've said, you know, recently, that it's got to be perfect.
Yeah, to the best you can do, right?
Yeah, to the best you can do. You don't want to do a half-hearted job with
and
getting
send you out something
out
that's
I
don't want to send you something that's that I consider half-hearted, like you said. And another thing is, we need to do content that is good quality, because we started off like that now.
That's right.
So even from episode 1.
Yeah, so we've held the bar high, haven't we?
Yeah.
So then, you know, we've got to carry on with that bar where we've set it at a high standard. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, so even like you said, like even because we set it at a high standard, we've got to look at podcasting in a way where generally we don't start off with that quality with the double thing, 2 different views and full cameras, proper mics, proper audio. It's just from my years of trial and error, because I started podcasting years ago, so I started in 2018. Me and my brother started our own podcast, and we just did kind of audio. We started off as audio. Podcasting was mainly audio, and then it became more bigger video later on. But I think I've always been interested in crime, and I always watched mob movies growing up. You know, Goodfellas, Godfather, Scarface,
the classic
Bronx
movies.
Tale,
as we all do. Love
Paid in Full. I watched even like the other side of the industry as well. So I've always been interested in mobs, gangster
Yeah.
kind of genre. So when you proposed the idea of
Yeah.
I want to do this, I was like, why don't you?
You was interested in it straight away.
Yeah, I got to. Why don't you just do a podcast? I'll just
Yeah,
help
you said that
produce.
to me. Yeah.
I said to you, let's just start the podcast.
And it was, to be fair with you, it was kind of daunting to me because I thought, in front of a camera, like we are sitting now,
Yeah.
you know, I thought, you know, it's you get nervous.
It looks easy.
It looks easy and everything,
But it
but
takes
it's not.
practice.
You know, it takes practice and that. Like I said, now I'm still a work in progress. You know, we've done like 4 podcasts. You know, yeah, it's always like you get them jitters and. To be fair, I do the research on a podcast and everything. I don't have any notes or nothing, so I research the host. So I research the guest, and then sit down, fresh in my head, a couple of days before the podcast, we're going to sit down and do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I know in my head that what the questions that I'm going to ask, I have it like in a formation, start, middle, and end. So yeah, so it's good that you know, that's my part of it, where I research somebody and then, you know, and kind of follow through with it. But yeah, I don't have any notes, or I don't sit with notes or anything. But yeah, I do research the person, and yeah, it's all you know, it's all kind of flows the podcast do with the guest kind of thing, you know, what we talk about, you know. So yeah, it's good. I enjoy it now, and you know, moving forward, hopefully we're going to have a few more people that we're going to sit down with. But listen, I want to talk about our recent podcast that we did with Zack Carusso. You know,
That was interesting.
Zack Carusso, like I said, his book publisher reached out to us. He had a story, and listen, I didn't ask him whether his story is true, false, or whatever else. All we do is we just give a person a platform to tell their story, like we did with him. You know, he's an ex-mob member. He claims to be. You know, he claims that he's
Allegedly.
from the DeCavalcante family, which is, I think, the Sopranos were based on the
interesting enough.
Yeah.
Another fact that, you know.
Yeah.
So the DeCavalcante family
Yeah.
was based. The Sopranos, I think season 1 or 2 was based off them.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
you know the founder of the DeCavalcante, Sam the plumber, was it?
Yeah.
He Vito Corleone was based off him.
Okay. I
So
didn't know that.
If I show you a picture,
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you now, and then I'll share it on the screen as well.
Yeah.
What I'm showing you now.
Yeah.
You tell me this
Yeah.
is not Vito Corleone. So we're talking about Sam DeCavalcante. The internet is
Yeah.
it's not the best. It's not loading up, but
It's not loading up. Yeah, that's fine. So he came on. I did a podcast with him, and if anybody's seen it, they'll know it's on our YouTube channel, Connected Crime Official. I did a podcast with him and Carissa, his book publisher, and we talked about certain things of the life, what he was involved in. But he was restricted to telling me certain things about the life because he had a book coming out and he was still under the witness protection program.
Yeah.
So, you know, he was kind of so the question that I wanted to ask him, I couldn't really get the answers to, you know, and then we put it out there, we put his content out there, and there was a lot of negative feedback on it because
he's got
the reason there was negative feedback is because our followers and the people that gone on our YouTube channel commented on there. They said, look, we can't find nothing about this guy. But the reason why we couldn't find anything, and certainly I couldn't find anything about this guy, was because he was under the witness protection program, which means that he's still being protected by the police. So any information about him was eradicated. So there's no files on him, because I tried to research him before we sat down with him. So I couldn't find anything, and there was people out there. So what people were saying, like, is this guy a fugazi? Is he a fake? Is he real or what? You know, we give a guy a platform to tell his story. Now, you know, we don't judge anybody that comes onto the channel, but he did get a lot of negative press. But in his defense, I'd say eventually we want to get him back on when he can tell us his true identity. Do you know what I mean? When he can tell us who he really is. Because I didn't even know, I'll tell you that, I didn't know that the name that he, obviously he was called alias Zack Caruso, and he's brought a book out in that. I didn't know that was a name that was given to him by, that's an assumed name, that was given to him by the FBI or whatever. That's not his true identity. So, I was none the wiser, so we put his content out there, and there was a lot of people, for example, there was a guy who's quite big in the podcasting world, a sit down with what's his name, Jeff Nadu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He put some comment on there, some negative comments saying, what did he say? He said it was
comical, absolutely.
It was comical. It was a joke,
something like
and
that.
everything. I don't know whether he was directing that at me or if he was directing it at Zack. But I think he might have been directing it at Zack because they couldn't find nothing on him. And he's quite big in the game, like with like the mafia.
You know what's funny?
And listen, to be fair with him, he does a brilliant job. He's really good with what he does, and talks about the mafia, talks about, people within that life and everything, and past, present, and whatever else and that. So I can't knock the guy, but we're doing a job that is exactly the same as yours. Now you're coming onto our channel saying this was embarrassing, laugh out loud, whatever else and everything and that. But we don't judge anybody on our channel. So you know what I mean. For him to say that is a bit low, like, you know what I mean, because you're doing the same thing. You know what I mean? Talking about the mafia, we're doing the same thing, talking about people and that. Now, look, if they've been under the witness protection program and they've been cooperating with the police and everything else, with the FBI, what are we to say? Anything different? You know what I mean? There's a lot of rats out there in that life that have, you know what I mean, served their purpose and then decided that they wanted to go against whatever and that. So, for him to like put up that comment. But listen, I am going to say, and we are going to put up something regarding Jeff Nadu and that. You showed me his fight in the ring, man. Tell me what that fight was like. So he must have had a fight in the ring, like a boxing match. Yeah. And this guy's saying, coming onto our channel, saying it's embarrassing, laugh out loud, whatever else regarding our guest. Now look, mate, you know what I mean? Your fight is embarrassing, man. You know what I mean? You're getting in the ring, gloving up. You know what I mean? You haven't got a clue in the world of how to box or anything. You've got no fundamentals or nothing. But listen, we're going to put that up on our channel. When this airs, we're going to put it up so our audience and our followers can watch that fight. You know what I mean? And make their own mind up.
You know what's funny? So he's getting punched, and then he's doing this.
Yeah,
and then he's running away. And
I mean, listen.
I was like, you can't be talking like that, and then you're boxing like that.
Yeah, because he can't be saying embarrassing, laugh out loud, this and that when you have got the boxing skills of a rabbit. You know what I mean? You have no skills whatsoever. You know what I mean? I would go in the ring with you, both hands behind my back. In fact, I'd tie both my hands behind my back, right, and blindfolded, and I think I could probably land a blow on you in some way or another. That's how embarrassing your skills are. You know what I mean? But what you do as a podcaster, talk about crimes, talk about organised crime, talk about the mob thing, and that's brilliant. You know what I mean? That is brilliant. You know what I mean? What you do, and I commend you for that. You know what I mean? But as far as the ring is concerned, I would like kind of stay out of that ring because you're embarrassing yourself, man. Getting in there.
I think he did that a couple of years ago, but that I don't know who trained him. I don't know who he.
I don't know.
He could have done a few sessions off me or you.
And then I seen another clip of that Dom Sicali. You know what I mean? Ex-mob member turned informant. I think he put a video up regarding that Jeff Nadu. He wasn't happy about it, and he said what he wanted to do with him and everything. And that Jeff put the video up regarding it. So you know what I mean? You're
causing enemies,
causing chaos within your own kind of field.
Chaos sells.
Hey?
Chaos sells.
Chaos
so
sells.
he's trying to I don't think that's what we're trying to. That's not the direction we're trying to go.
Yeah, that's not the direction we want to go. You know what I mean? You know, we give a platform to a person that wants, a credible person that will come along and say, look, I've got a story, and this is how it started, this is how it ended. You know what I mean? Would you be interested in putting it on? 99.9% of the time, depending on the crime, yes, we will put people on, and yes, if they've been informants or whatever they've done, that's part of their journey, and they kind of decided why they did that.
I don't think a lot of people understand is a lot of the real guys will not come on camera.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys that you're stating not to be informants or thing, they won't come on camera.
Yeah.
It's the guys that have reformed and who maybe become informants but change their life around.
Yeah.
They're willing to come on the camera, and that's what we're going to interview. Generally, that's the chance.
Yeah, because listen, at the end of every podcast and that, with crime and everything, there's always an end story to it, and the end story is what they've done from their start to the middle of their journey to the end, which is always a positive message. You know what I mean?
It's not always really the mafia life. It's not always positive,
listen, we don't glamorize anything on our podcasts or anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We try and deter people from going into crime because of, experience tells us, and the people that have been involved in it, where you end up through that journey. The streets might beckon you for their riches and say there's that fast buck out there that you can earn, but you know what I mean, when you break the law and everything, think of the consequences behind it.
And
think of where you're going to end up.
And another thing is people like Jeff Nadu and all these content creators on crime.
Yeah.
A lot of them, they can say whatever, but you actually got more qualifications to talk about certain things. I'm not going to go into detail. He might not say himself, but I personally know his backstory.
So listen, I've got some credentials that I got involved in crime and everything else, and that's probably why it prompted me to bring out a channel, and then it's culminated to podcasts and stuff like that. Where it goes from here on, we'll push the boundaries and we'll see where it goes and that. But I've got a past, I've got a history,
we'll do an
and everything.
Episode on
Maybe
that.
one day I'll sit down and talk a little bit in detail about what I was involved in and everything. But listen, what I was involved in defined me as a person, as a man, and everything else. Do I regret anything? Nah, because it made me who I was. So I wouldn't change that. You know what I mean? And it instilled in me certain morals and a certain way of life, or how to conduct myself as a man, and that's always going to stay with me, and that'll never change. So I went through some rocky roads, and we did some things we shouldn't have done, but would I change it? No, I wouldn't. I did what I did, and I'd done the time for it, and that was it. And this is my positive message, where I've been through certain adversities in my life. I'm trying to get a message across to the younger audience and people that might be thinking about, the crime as a glamorous life, and that, the people we talk to, and that, research it yourself. A shortcut, I say, always end up in a long cut. You know what I mean? Them shortcuts that you want in life, they're never as plain rosy. Eventually, everything catches up with you, and what you thought that was good at one stage, it turns bad, very bad, and you come, you know what I mean? You come from a high, fall down, man, and it's we said everything about
that Zack Caruso episode.
So you read his book, didn't you?
Yeah, I read
his
book.
I never read his book, but
I read the book. I gave it a go. Let me have a read.
Yeah.
Let's see what he's talking about, what his message is.
Yeah.
He has some interesting points in the book.
Yeah.
He was stating certain stories, like the John Gotti story.
Yeah.
He went in more detail, I think, regarding that. But for me, it was still a bit vague. He could have went in a bit more.
What my criticism towards Zack Caruso is, and if he's going to watch it, I hope he takes it on board, is, you brought out a book under your assumed identity.
Yeah.
If you're bringing out a book and you're telling, essentially is what is true in your story is what you're portraying in that. You should have brought it out in your real name, the book kind of thing. It resonate more with people, and that's why he had the negative press and everything. But listen, we don't judge anybody. He might come on. We have invited him to come back on to tell us his real story when he's ready, and tell us his true identity and everything else. But yes, I can understand people's frustration regarding why they're pissed off with him, or you know what I mean, why people are questioning his story and that, because there's no, as they say here in the UK, there's no receipts to what he's saying. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But listen, we're not to judge a person. He's got his reason. He's still under the witness protection program and everything else. If you haven't watched the podcast, watch it and make your own mind up. But yeah, and hopefully when he's ready to tell his real story, we'll sit him down, and we'd love to go through that story with him.
Again, yeah.
And hopefully he can set the record straight for the people that are doubting him.
Yeah. So from the book, he was saying that he was part of Rudy Ferrone's crew in New York. Yeah. So the New York side of the DeCavalcantes who worked closely with.
I mean, they were based in New Jersey, wasn't they?
No, the crew was based in New Jersey,
but they were close to the Gambino because John Gotti used them in certain.
But they were the New York crew though. So although the crew was based in New Jersey, according to the book, they hung around, and from my own research, they hung around in New York.
Okay.
So and then they had close ties with John Gotti. They did lots hits for him, I believe, and John Gotti Jr. as well. So that's where he's saying he had the issue, etc. So look, let me show you the picture of Sam DeCavalcante, the founder of the.
Okay. Yeah.
Does he not look like Marlon Brando?
He does a bit, doesn't he?
Even the jaw.
Yeah. He does.
So they go there based.
Yeah.
Marlon Brando's character of the Godfather, Vito Corleone, off this guy.
Wow.
So I'm going to show the listeners on the screen when we're talking.
Yeah, we'll put it up on the screen.
Let's see this exactly.
Yeah, he does look like him, to be fair. Yeah, he does.
And he retired. I think he moved to a different state after and let someone else take over the family. So it's similar to kind of. How Michael.
So what was your favourite? I'm going to sum them 4 podcasts of what we've done. Out of all them, and Kevin Lane, we never mentioned Kevin Lane.
Yeah, we done Kevin Lane. Yeah,
that was a really good one. I read his book and everything.
Yeah.
Spent 20 years inside. I mean, if you haven't seen the podcast, go on there and watch it. It's a really interesting story about Kevin Lane, and you know what I mean, how he went through adversity, still going through adversity, trying to prove his innocence still. So, but yeah, I think out of all of them, to me, the 2 that really kind of stick out for me is Dean Gordon's on a personal level, because I knew his story, and Kevin Lane's, to be fair. And we haven't done a lot of podcasts on that, but moving forward, we have got a few that we want to get on. I don't know whether I should kind of divulge a little bit about who we might be getting on next, who we're working on. But listen, I'm going to give you a clue. Mark Wahlberg is making a movie on him, and he was called. His nickname was the Executioner, and he was a member of one of the 5 families. Now, if I say his name, everybody will know. But I'm working, and the Executioner, that was his father. So I'm working along with the son who's involved in the life of trying to get him on. Sylvester Stallone did a movie on him, or was in the middle of doing a movie on him to play this character,
I didn't know that. That's actually quite interesting.
So he was from the Colombo crime family.
Okay.
And his nickname was the Executioner for a reason. And I think the father committed about 50 murders in his life, and he cooperated for that time that he was in the mob. He was also in the as a paid informant as well with the FBI for 30 odd years. It's all documented and everything. So that is an interesting story that fingers crossed that we can get this guy on. So fast forwarding now, we've got a few people lined up, and we just want to let our followers know that, we might have slacked off a little bit, but behind the lines we are working on a few people, guests that are going to be coming on on our podcast and talking about their stories. I mean, I could name a few for you, but I don't want to spoil it. So, anybody that wants to come onto our channel who has got a good story and that, drop us a DM on our socials. Connected Crime Official on Instagram would be the best bet for them to drop us a message saying, because that's how we get guests and on, people. You know what I mean?
Just suggest. Just message us on Insta, say, look, I think this guest is interesting, or you can message on one of our posts, comment on one of our posts. If you have a guest that you might be interested, they don't need to be from a particular background, whatever, as long as they're involved in crime. As long as they were involved in crime, and they've got a good story and everything, they're verified as well.
Yeah, certified as they say. They come with the receipts,
and then
we don't judge. We just want to get content out there. We want to get people's stories out there. And yes, we do pay as well for anybody who wants to come onto our podcast and that. Yeah, we pay a fee to get people on. So we'll be actively looking out for people over the next coming months of getting people on, whether it's a virtual podcast.
I think I've given you a few suggestions of my own.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
So I think we'll look at, because I was telling Shaq, we want a good mix of people from different backgrounds, different type of crimes as well.
100%.
It doesn't just need to be
it doesn't need to be organised crime.
It doesn't need to be the drug game. It could be bank robbers. It could be ex-bank robbers, ex-anything.
Actually, I've got somebody in mind who I haven't messaged yet.
Yeah.
An American guy who's an ex-bank robber he was in prison with Carmine Persico, one of the Five Families' boss. I haven't reached out to him yet, and he was in prison with Joey Testa, who's only recently passed away, one half of the Gemini twins, which I'll put a post up because he's passed away and everything, and so there are people out there, credible people that we want to get on, that we do the research on and everything, and if somebody wants to reach out to us, like I said, drop us a DM on our socials. I mean, if you want to watch any of our podcasts and that, go on to Connected Crime Official on YouTube, on Instagram, and give us a follow, give us a subscribe on our YouTube channel. It doesn't cost anything, but if you like that content, follow it. Because we will be having more interesting characters, shall I say, on our podcasts, who will have some interesting stories to talk about. And I know that there's a big fan base for crime, because everybody likes watching, talking, about crime and everything. So
I think crime is. Everyone's interested in crime. I think there's 100%. Something about criminal. I think I was telling one of my friends that with like mafia and crime, and why people find it interesting. It's because you're going against the grain of society. So we're living in a certain system, and these people go against the grain. It's like for people that watch WWE or WWF. Stone Cold Steve Austin. He used to go against Vince McMahon, who was the owner of the company. So he created a big fan base. It's kind of the same effect. So when you hear guys of like John Gotti, who come in and they're flaunting and they're beating all the cases, and it creates a story, a glamour that people kind of respect. But then what they don't show is the dark side of things.
The dark side of things.
Where your conscience is probably playing up after doing all.
I mean, there's a lot of even UK gangland. There's a lot of criminals out there, ex-criminals that I'd like to reach out to. I'd like to get on, but I haven't done kind of thing yet. I reached out to a few, but haven't had any sort of feedback from them yet. But
we're getting there.
So
the Instagram is blowing up. I mean,
Instagram is blowing up.
26,000 followers now. And you literally started from nothing. Let's be honest. Look, we started from scratch. The channel started from scratch.
So there's an interest in what we're talking about.
The craziest thing, the second episode got 11,000 views on a podcast, which is really good. For someone that doesn't have already a massive social media.
Yes.
Like you gotta remember, a lot of people that do podcasts, they have a massive following beforehand. But you've literally come from scratch. 11,000 views. This Zack Carusso episode's done really well. Kevin Lane's done about over 3,000 views. Every episode you've done has over 1,000 views.
That's right,
which is actually a success. Especially since you've not done a lot of episodes.
No, of course. And like I said, moving forward, we want to get interesting people on there with interesting stories, and we'll only want to get the people. I'd say we want to get the higher echelons of crime. You know what I mean? People that have been involved in it at a high level, kind of thing, who've got a really good story behind everything. And that's what intrigues me, to try and find them people, because I want to listen to them as a fan. You know, I know you're the same. When you're filming, you're listening profusely. You know,
I'm listening. I'm taking my shots.
You're taking it in, kind of thing, listening to the story. You're kind of homed in on it, same as I am, because I want to listen to what they've got to say. I want to see what has happened. I want to ask the right questions, you know, about what they were involved in.
And it is a skill, and it is difficult sometimes.
But listen, like I said before, I'm a work in progress. So any sort of negative press towards me or anything, I turn it into a positive, because anybody says...
Feedback.
You know, it's feedback for me. So by all means, say whatever you want regarding my the way I do my podcast, or what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing, because it sharpens my tools. Do you know what I mean? And it makes me a better, I'd say, I wouldn't say I'm a podcaster, but, you know, makes me a better host, kind of thing. And so any sort of negative, positive, you know what I mean, feedback, I'm interested in hearing. You know, it's always good. So,
I think moving forward, we're gonna do more content like this, where
we'll be doing more
different
Q&As.
topics.
Different topics.
And it would be, I think what we can do as well is we'll start putting out Q&As on our stories, and if people can ask us questions as well, where we'll just ask a question every week. We'll just try get some questions, and we'll answer it on the episode.
Of course. And, so we'll put out stories and everything,
and
asking our followers, like you said, what would you like to see on your content? What topic would you like us to talk about? And we'll pick and choose from our followers, our audience, and we'll talk about that particular topic. You know, whatever interests you out there, you know, be it crime, politics, or anything else, you know.
And then with the YouTube now, you've got the YouTube's hit a certain number now, so I think we have memberships where you can support us, and you can give donations on chats and like super chats. So if we do live, if we ever go live on YouTube, you can give super chats and support our channel.
If you like our content and you follow us, then subscribe to us or become a member on our YouTube channel.
It doesn't need to be anything expensive.
You know, they're very low.
How much is it?
Kind of membership. I think they're like, you know, there's certain grades on them. So for £2 you get a certain level from us.
Yeah. So even if you give us,
you know, whatever
£2 a month, that's
whatever it might be.
That helps the channel. That gives money for, because of course Shaq gives fees out to guests, and if he needs any better equipment
and stuff like that. So listen,
then
if you can support us in any way and you like our content, you know, more importantly, if you like the content, then support us by joining our memberships, and you can see them on our YouTube channel, the different tiers of memberships that we've got on there, you know. So is there anything else you want to add to this Q&A?
I think our future content now would be more like this, and we'll have guests in between of the episodes. And then our next one, I think we're going to do a comparison of UK crime, the UK gangland kind of scene, and then comparing it to the American crime. I think we'll do one on that, and what the differences are, what you think the differences are, because not going to go into detail, but Shaq's kind of lived, let's just say, the UK kind of lifestyle.
So
we can do a little comparison.
We're gonna we'll do our research and we'll put it out there in another Q&A, another sit down. Yeah,
I think that covers it for
which should be an interesting one. But I think that covers it for now.
And so shout out to this restaurant for allowing us to
shout out to this restaurant called Baloci. It's in
Birmingham.
Birmingham, and we've ordered some afternoon tea. We've ordered afternoon tea here, and the hospitality is beautiful here. So if you're ever in town and you want a location, it's an Italian restaurant. I think it's brilliant.
Nice. I like that atmosphere.
So now, after this filming, we're going to tuck into some afternoon tea, vegan afternoon tea. I tell you what, this Persian tea is beautiful. You know, Persian tea is really nice. So I'm looking forward to eating that. So listen, guys, that's it for our first Q&A. Keep an eye on our socials and everything else for future official content.
At Connected Crime Official. Keep on socials. Keep up with the content. Support the content. If you want to ask questions like we spoke about, just DM us. If any guests were interested in coming on the show, who are credible or certified, as you said, or if they're connected, as you said. So stay connected. And message us, and we'll get back with you and see if we can do an episode and discuss your lifestyle or brand or. Oh, and another thing, any sponsors that want to sponsor us,
that's
let
another
us
thing.
know. We can post and promote on our page.
We've got a big following on our Instagram.
So 26,000.
Anybody wants to sponsor any of our channels, we can tailor make it where we can put you on to our on our episodes, on our posts,
on our
and everything else.
As well.
We're new to it as well, so drop us a DM. Any businesses or any companies that want to come on board and trial us for any episode, any future episode that's coming up, drop us a DM and we'll sort out.
It can be anything. It can be a clothing brand. It can be
it could be anything.
So I think that's about it. I think
I think that's it
connected.
For now.
Just stay connected.
Stay connected. Stay safe, and stay crime free.
Yep. See you later, guys.
Thank you.